Hello everyone, Daniel here from the Next Issue Podcast. On today's video, I'll be doing a review of The Last of Us Season 1, Episode 4. Please hold on to my hand. This episode's a lot shorter than the previous one. It's only 50 minutes. In this one, let me give you a quick synopsis before we get into the review. After Joel and Ellie leave Belle and Frank's compound, they come across something that is even more deadly than the infected people. Joel must protect Ellie at all costs, lest he relive what happened to his daughter all those years ago. This one's directed by Jeremy Webb, written by Neil Druckmann and Craig Mason. Stars Pedro Pascal as Joe Miller, Bella Ramsey as Ellie Williams. So let's talk about that. I do have two more cast members that I'm gonna mention, but I'll probably save that for the spoiler part of the episode. One thing immediately jumping back on to the story about Joe and Ellie and their journey. One of the things that I really appreciate about the show is their attention to detail to the road as they are traveling. Like, the gas stations, like all the stuff that's kind of been taken back by nature, even just seeing cars on the road, the fact that they needed like gas and it's been so long since a lot of those cars had like gas decays as the years go by, like all those little details to make it feel like the obstacles are very realistic. I really appreciate. We also get to learn more about the dangers of the road, like what the strategy is when traveling. We can see that Joel has a lot of experience, and Pedro Pascal is just really good at bringing this part to life. In this episode, we also get to see the relationship between Joel and Ellie evolve, and I think I can't think of a better duo really than Bella and Pedro, just because they really make you feel for the characters. They're very charismatic, both of them in their own way, and you can see the bond. Like it really feels like there is like a bond forming. It's not. I think this is something that Craig Mason also mentioned at the end of the episode. But it's not just that Ellie is cargo anymore; is that they are becoming a team, which is really important, I think. So this was really neat to see. Um, and yeah, this one we escalate things. I think shows about the apocalypse. Um, it's always more scary and suspenseful when it comes to dealing with people. I think obviously, zombies or the infected or whatever the case may be, we know that those things aren't real, but people are real, and we know that that's something you would have to deal with, and just the danger that brings, um, all the variables that are added when you bring in people and their different motivations. So really interesting. We get to see a really interesting new area, which we'll talk about a little bit in a little bit in spoilers. But overall, another great episode. I think out of the four episodes, I would say this one is the one that feels the slowest pace as far as moving the story forward. Um, Probably with even including the last episode, actually. I think that one really gave us a lot of motivation for the characters moving forward. So I think that's why it was important. But this one just feels like we finally slowed down the pace a little bit. So yeah, really, really cool stuff. I really enjoy this episode. So if you're about to leave because you don't want to see the spoilers, just an announcement. HBO has put out that the next episode will air on Friday night because of the Super Bowl. So make sure to we'll have a review as soon as we can from Friday night. So yeah, now I'm gonna get into spoilers. So spoiler alert: if you haven't seen the episode, what are you even doing here? Um, Come back and see us. But yeah, we get introduced to two more characters. Melanie Linsky plays Kathleen. Jeffrey Pierce plays Perry. Kathleen is the leader of these people that have managed to regain control of a quarantine zone from Fedra. Which it's a really interesting premise that there are groups outside of the Fireflies. Now, I think from what I saw and heard in the inside the episode at the end, this is the big change from the book. Not only the location, but all from the game. Not only the location, but also the fact that um, these characters are not just going to be an obstacle for Joel and Ellie, but they're actually going to be personified. We're going to see that they also have their own motivation. So I think that's a really interesting thing about adapting a game into a book. NPCs don't need to be three-dimensional characters, but in a show, they're just characters. Even if they're just supporting characters, you need them to have their own motivations and things going on. So it's really interesting that the creators of the show have definitely expanded on this. We also get some action sequences because there's finally some conflict. I gotta say, losing a car, man, feels like probably the worst thing in the world, especially after not so much that they fought really hard to get that first car, but just the fact that we had to lose so much as an audience for Joe and Ellie to get that truck. So yeah, it's gonna be really interesting. Also in this one, Ellie learns a real lesson, I think, when it comes to not only the danger that others bring about, but what you have to do to survive in a world like this. But it's really interesting because we don't see. I think she takes it very well, takes it in stride. It just lets you know that growing up in this world definitely changes who you could be or you could have been. Um, you know, so it's really interesting. I think Ellie's just a really fun character. There's a lot of jokes, a lot of really good lines too. I think I've seen some clips from the games where Ellie's just kind of cracking jokes and puns, and there's this little book. I really like that. I think that really adds a fun layer to the relationship between Joel and Ellie. And then as we get to the end of the episode, not only do we know that Kathleen and this group is following and trying to hunt down Joe and Ellie, but they're also hunting down somebody else, which I think we meet at the end of the episode. So we'll see what happens there. I feel like so Jeremy Webb directed both episodes 4 and 5, so I think these are gonna be like a mini arc. I think that would make sense as a director to keep some kind of continuity as you approach this task of making a TV show. So I think these two episodes are going to be very much related, very much about these people in Kansas, this group of people, and in everything that they have to go through. So we'll see, but I'm sure we'll see infected. From the preview, you can see that the infected are definitely coming. So I'm very much looking forward to episode 5. I'm glad we get it a couple days early. So let me know what you thought of this issue. I'll be listening to the next episode of the podcast as well. If anything really interesting comes out of that, we'll make a little video or a short or something. So stay tuned on our channel. Hit that subscribe button. And as always, thank you for watching, everyone. Remember to share, like, subscribe, hit the bell so you know when we go live. That is most Saturdays, 10 a.m. Central Standard Time. Stay tuned. We have more comic reviews, trailer reactions, TV recaps, all that fun stuff here in the channel. As always, thanks for watching, everyone. Bye bye.